Hey besties, it's Becky here with Becky's Crafts. Almost forgot who I was. Today I'm going to do a tutorial on a get well card. This is the card that we're going to make, and it adorbs. I have a friend who just had surgery, so I'm going to send her a get well card, and then pretty soon she's going to have to go into the hospital, so this will work for both of those situations. I thought I'd show you how I made it, and also how I went ahead figuring out how to make it a trifold. It's really cute. Look at this. I love the rainbows. And I think it will brighten up her day, and if she takes it to the hospital, it'll brighten up her room. So, let's go ahead and get started on how I made this. Now, I got the idea off of Pinterest, but I kind of changed it to kind of my style and what I wanted to do. So, it's an idea from there, but it's also my idea too. So, this is how I made it. First of all, I decided on what size envelope I was going to use. Now, I could make my own envelope. You can always do that. But I went ahead and decided I wanted to use an A2 envelope. Since I have a whole package of them, I might as well use them. So, this is what I decided on. So, to figure out what size to make my card and my folds, this is what I do. So I get a scratch piece of paper because sometimes it takes me a few times to figure out where my score lines should be and how big my cuts should be and all of that good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and draw out a rectangle, and it's not going to be pretty, and that's okay because it's just, it's just kind of a little scratch thing to figure out my sizes. So I know that I'm going to be using an A2 size envelope, and the measurements for the envelope are 4.37 inches by 5 3/4 inches. So let me get my ruler here. I know that it wants to be able to fit inside of my envelope with a little room to spare because there is just a little bit of thickness to this, not a whole lot. So I decided that I wanted my card base to be 4 inches. So because it is a trifold, I know that this piece right here, my centerpiece, which is my major piece, to be 4 inches. So I'm just going to draw a line here that this is going to be 4 inches. And this will also help me figure out where my score lines go. Alright, so here is my trifold. Alright, now I know that this side is this piece right here. And I don't want it to go right up to the fold, so I decided that I wanted to leave about 1/4 of an inch there. So that would make this piece measurement right here 3 3/4 inches. Alright. Hope you can see that. So right now that's 7 3/4 inches. So this one, my front piece, is going to fold over here. But I knew that I wanted to add these band-aids and that I wanted at least a 1/2 inch of designer paper underneath. Alright. So, to kind of figure that out, you take your ruler here. I'm going to move some stuff out of the way. Take my ruler, and I know it didn't have to be exactly to the 1/2 because, so I needed some overlap for my 1/2 inch of designer paper to have something to stick to, right? And kind of cover up that edge. So I decided to go ahead and make it 3 inches. because the 3 inches comes right to this, well, almost to the center there of that 1/4 inch of designer paper. Let's see if I can, you can see that, right? You can see that. So if I put a piece of designer paper over that, right? Okay. And then I want the Band-Aids too that I colored to be able to stick on there and come close to the edge. So I needed to make sure that I had room for those. So I decided on 3 inches for this front cover piece. If you wanted to do something else besides Band-Aids, fine. You could even, come over to the 4 inches if you wanted it to line up right against that edge. Totally up to you. But this is how I came up with my dimensions for this card. And that's kind of how I do it for any card. And I didn't get this at first, okay? It took me probably a couple tries to kind of figure out what dimensions I needed for my card and for it to fit inside of an envelope. Alright? It's like so. So, I also needed to figure out how tall I wanted my card. And in this case, the envelope is 5 3/4. I went ahead and decided to do 5 1/4 inches for my height. Okay? Pretty easy there. So, if I add the 3 and the 4 and the 3 3/4, I get 10 3/4 inches. So I need a piece of cardstock that is 5 1/4 by 10 3/4. That's how I got my trifold for this particular project. So I have already cut out my piece, and it is 5 1/4 inches by 10 3/4 inches. And then I needed to figure out where to do my scores, which, with my drawing, that already helped me. I needed to score at 3 inches, and if you add the 3 and the 4, that's 7 inches. So those are my score. So there's my little doodle, I guess, and how I figured out how to make my trifold card and where to score. So with my piece of 5 1/4 by 10, let's go ahead and score it. My scoreboard out here, and go ahead and score at 3 inches and 7 inches. There we go. And if I go ahead and fold in my back piece first, you see it leaves my little 1/4 inch there. Oh, maybe it helps if I fold it. There we go. It'll leave my little 1/4 inch there, and then gives me room on the front for my Band-Aids and my designer paper. Alright, so let's go ahead and put our card together. So I have another piece here that is already folded. I've already stamped it because you guys know how to stamp. I didn't think you wanted to watch me stamp it, actually. So I went ahead and stamped it already. And then the paper that I used was this paper pack. I think I got it at Michael's, and it is called Stay Magical, and I loved it because it has all the rainbows in it and the little stars I used for the Band-Aids. So it's a real cute little paper pack. So that's the paper pack that I used, and for my stamp set, I used a Lawn Fawn stamp set, and it's called On the Mend. Isn't it cute? But you could use whatever Getwell gift card stamp set that you have. So you don't have to use this one. So, alright. So let's go ahead and get started on gluing. Now, the first thing that I did, though, was I stamped my pieces and I cut them out. And since these pieces I stamped onto cardstock, I just fussy cut them out. Alright, so those were pretty easy. And that's because I'm going to back them like so. So when you open it, it's not just white right here. Alright, I could have colored them, you know, with markers if I wanted to. That would have been fine. And I also colored my little turtle here, and I colored him with Copics. And I added some Wink of Stella. Can you see a little sparkle there on his shell? And I also punched out some little hearts. And my back piece, created with love. Alright, so let's go ahead and start gluing. So the first thing I did, though, was I knew that I wanted this piece covered on the inside. So what I did was I measured it. And again, let me find my ruler here. I need to like attach this thing to my hip. So we know it's 3 inches, and I want it to, you know, come out and cover that piece right here of 1/2 inch, you know. So I think I cut it at 3 1/4, if I'm not correct. Yes, I cut it at 3 1/4, so it would cover the edge of the stripe. So I'm going to go ahead and glue it on the back of this piece of paper, and I'm going to come up to the faux line, not over it, just up to it. So again, use my good old handy dandy liquid glue here, so I have some playtime. But you can use whatever glue you're comfortable with. And like I said, you're going to come up right up to that fold and match the edges best as you can. I'm going to fold it over this way just to make sure that I have enough room there. And of course, my glue is going to spill out, which is okay. Alright, so there I have my inside piece of designer cardstock nailed down. Having trouble with my mouth today. I have TMJ really bad, and for some reason it is acting up today. And sometimes when it acts up and it's really bad, I get ringing in my ears, which that's going on today. So I can't hear very well. And also, when it happens, not only can I not hear very well, but I get vertigo. So I'm a little disoriented, and if I fall off my chair, just laugh along with me, because I will find it funny. So anyway, alright, so we have our band-aids. I've got my 3 colors, and like I said, I stamped them on cardstock and then fussy cut them out. So I'm going to go ahead and glue them at the top of my card. And as you saw, I glued down my strip of paper over here and just lined up the edges with the DSP on the other side. And, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect if it's not exactly, you know, covering it at 1/4 of an inch, or, you know, however I measured it. You know, as long as it looks good. Okay, so I know that I don't want, my Band-Aid to go over this edge. So I'm just going to put glue up until that edge. And doesn't need much. And I'm going to top kind of as best as I can, as straight as I can, you know, what I think looks good. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue my turtle on so that I don't run into his space. So I'm going to put some glue on my turtle, which I have a hair on my glue. There we go. My turtle. And I'm going to center him over my wishing you a speedy recovery. Alright, now I know where I can put my green Band-Aid and not cover him up. And then I'll just center my pink one in between those two. So I'm going to glue it the same way as I did my purple one. Make sure he doesn't cover that edge. Doesn't cover my turtle. There, like so. And now I'm going to do the same thing with my pink. Ooh, a big bubble of glue come out. That's not going to be good. That's not going to be good. That's going to be too much. Okay. I just wiped some off. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and center it in between my green and my purple. Just like so. Let's come down just a smidge. There we go. And then I punched out a rainbow heart to put over here. I think I've got one that's got a little bit more purple and pink in it. I think I'm going to put that over there. It's the glue making noise, not me. And glue that over there just to give it a little extra. Okay? So there's the front of my card already. Isn't it cute? So easy. Now let's open it up. And we've got these Band-Aids to match. So my top one, I was going to do pink, is, let me get my Band-Aids out here. My top one is purple. So I want to match that. So on this one, I can put glue all the way along, like so. And I'm going to match it up on this side. Now, because I fussy cut them, they aren't perfect, they don't match perfect, and that's okay, because I'm going to show you my little trick. Okay, so purple was first, and then pink. Alright. Maybe. It's either like coming out in a huge cloud or like not coming out at all. Alright, so then I'm going to put pink on. And I'm going to match it up. And then my last one is green. Wish I could fussy cut like a die, but I can't. That's okay. Okay, so I've got those on, and I decided to use a black gel pen. You could use a Sharpie, a fine line Sharpie, but I always worry about it bleeding through, or my hand slides or something, and then I've got a mess. So I decided on using a gel pen, and anywhere, like right here on this purple one where I have extra, I'm just going to color it black. Even in here, anywhere that you can see a white edge that you don't want to see a white edge, just color it. Like so. And then it's not so visible, it kind of disappears. And you can do that on the other side too. you don't fussy cut very well, you can color those edges. You know, I don't know, I just think it kind of cleans it up, makes it look a little bit, you know, I don't know, neater. Oop, sorry, my phone. I forgot to turn it off. Sorry. Alright, and get this pink edge, just like so. It doesn't take very long. And there you go. Kind of finishes it off. And I just put a paper down so I didn't scribble on my mat. Alright? So there's the inside of our card. So now we've got our little fold right here. And I have a little rainbow band-aid. I thought he was cute. Let's go ahead and glue him under the sending hugs. And a little heart. You know, once you get your pieces all done, it really doesn't take very long. And once you kind of figure out how you need to, you know, cut and fold your card, it actually goes pretty fast. And then I just keep notes on file of you know, what measurements I used. I have a file I keep everything you know, the notes of what I made in there. I make notes of what Copic markers I used to color my images. Sometimes I keep them in the back of my stamped, oops, my stamp pages. See, I did extra bandages and an extra turtle just in case when I was stamping them out I made a mistake, and I just put them in the back with my stamps. A lot of times I will write down what Copic markers I use. Sometimes I keep them in the back here, or I keep them on the sheet where I wrote down my measurements and where I score to make this card, because I will take a picture of this card if I want to make it again. Alright, so let's go ahead and glue down the rest here. Got my little turtle. Now you could glue down some bling too if you wanted. It's really kind of up to you what you wanted to do. I've got another heart, big one. Put that up here. And then 3 little hearts. Just kind of stagger them about. It's kind of like to do odd numbers. It's more pleasing to the eye, they say. I don't know. So I try. Same when you do flowers. But you could put flowers on here instead of hearts. Totally up to you. Totally up to you. Washi tape would be cute on here too. More. Alright. Cute, huh? Alright, so let's close it up and let's finish it off. I have my Created with Love scallop. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that on. And this I just used a punch for. Center it. And center my stamp that I cut out with a heart. Just like so. And that's it. Pretty easy. I cut out an extra Band-Aid because I'm going to use that to decorate the envelope, because that's always kind of nice to decorate the envelope if you can. At least I think so. And so there you go. Now I have 2 Get Well cards. And it wasn't that easy. And really, didn't take long. Once I had my stuff cut out and figured out my dimensions, I hope that how I figured out how to do my gate, trifold gate card, is that what you call it? Or just trifold card? Made some sense to you, to help you figure out on your own sometime, and just kind of how I do my process on making things. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and as you notice, I did not fall off my chair. I hope I didn't talk too loud. And have a great day, and happy crafting, and I will see you next time. Bye.